On this week's show, 2 new instructors hit the Power Zone platform.
And we have a new artist series with the rock group Rush. And Daniel McKenna is finally back on the schedule, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 88 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined by my co-host, John Pruitt. Hey, John.
Hey now. What's up, Amanda?
What's up? Well, I am down in Florida for the July 4th holiday. So it's a little hot and sticky and humid down here, but it's always nice to be down here. So I feel quite lucky. But yeah, otherwise not much. How about you? Fun plans for July 4th?
I think we're going to we went to Detroit, downtown Detroit, to like the sort of Riverwalk area with my in-laws and Jackie and Jackson. But other than that, just taking it easy. I went to a concert a couple nights ago. I saw Dead & Co. for the first time with, the John Mayer fronting the Grateful Dead band, the remaining, members that are in there.
Awesome.
Pine Knob Amphitheater here in Michigan. So that was super fun. Had good fifth row seats. So I was jamming out.
Yeah.
At Dead & Co. Yeah, it was a good time.
That's awesome. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, nothing to some Pelo meetups this weekend, which was fun. So I always like to see my boss bitch Bay. So my friend Sandy is down in Miami and we hung out. So that's fun. And my Beth rides a latte. Beth Bell, she's down here. So it's always fun. Fun to kind of catch up with Pelo.
Yeah. Beth is always big. She's always big on Cody. She's always doing a milestone with Cody.
Yeah, she sure is, my Beth. She loves Cody. Cody. We always joke about that. Yeah, so it's always fun. And then I'm crossing my fingers I get to see German Floridian. So my Benny matchup. She's down in Fort Lauderdale. So we're trying to get together as well. My Benny connection. Nice. So we're trying to, it's always fun. And you're getting ready to head up to New York, right? This following week.
Yeah. So I'll be flying up Thursday the 7th. And then I don't know what class I'm doing yet on Friday, July 8th. They actually, they got me mixed up. Someone emailed me earlier this past week to invite me to do Jess King's live, her ride in the studio on Friday evening. So I just sent back. I was like, no, I'm not going to be there this week. It's the following weekend.
It's next week.
Yeah. Put me down for the Cody ride or for whatever other, I don't know what classes are going to have people in them yet. So
yeah. I should surprise you, John. I should surprise you and come up for next Friday, huh? And give you this big surprise.
You should have gotten a ticket to the Boo Crew rooftop party that I'm doing on Saturday night.
I know. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Open bar, food.
How about that?
Yeah. All
right. Well, you'll have to fill us in next week. I won't be attending that, but who knows? Maybe I'll pop into New York next Friday. We'll see. Right. Anyway, folks, let's get going. Before we get started with the news, we'd like to remind you how to keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is recorded and released on our YouTube channel, so just hit the subscribe button at the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button to make sure that you never miss an episode.
And if you want to just listen to us while you're on the go, we're on all podcast platforms. Just search Pelo Buddy TV. Make sure you subscribe, click notifications so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a review if you like the show. If you're enjoying it, we're happy to say we're ad-free. And, you don't have to pay for that. It's free and it's ad-free. So let us know if you have any suggestions, comments. We always appreciate hearing from you at home.
And of course, folks, we are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And our Instagram followers are growing beautifully. We're almost at 100,000. So that's really exciting.
Not too
So
shabby.
just always search, so just search for Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all of your latest news. And now let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right. Well, first up, folks, it looks like we have some new Power Zone coaches on deck. Just this past Wednesday, both Erik Jager and Sam Yo were announced as Peloton's newest Power Zone training coaches, joining the already amazing team of Matt Wilpers, Dennis Morton, Christine D'Urclay, Olivia Amato, and Ben Aldous. For those taking Matt Wilpers' class on Wednesday morning, he had teased that there was something big coming from those that do Power Zone. And we, Pelo Buddy, had shared that one of those announcements was that we could be getting German language Power Zone classes. But it was so great to see that Sam Yo was also going to be joining the team. And as we all know, Sam had been mentioning for quite some time on his social that there was stuff coming, in the works and planning, and he definitely teased some exciting things. So there's no question that Sam is thrilled to be part of the team as well. Peloton did go ahead and release 10 new classes that all dropped on demand. There were 5 from Erik and 5 from Sam, and they were a mix of Power Zone Beginner, Power Zone Endurance, there was a Power Zone Max, and FTP tests. So for all of you folks, and it seems to be there are more and more of you out there that are doing the Power Zone programs, now you have 2 new coaches that you can work with. And I guess it's really nice for the German community too, John, because they can now jump on board too. I'm sure tons of them were taking the English language classes, but it'll be nice for them to be able to do them with Erik in their mother tongue. So that's really cool.
Nice. I don't think I'm gonna. I'm not a Power Zone fanatic. You're not into, super into Power Zones, but I know the Power Zone community is very, very passionate. So I know there's definitely excitement around this, especially for Sam and Erik Jager fans. Cool. Awesome. Well, Peloton briefly rolled out this past week a new feature to select members on the bike and tread that allowed them to sort classes in a different way. There was a new personalized default selection when you hit that drop down. Normally it defaults to say new for new classes, and this test option that they added for some members that were testing it uses Peloton's algorithms to recommend classes tailored to that member's individual workout habits. So normally it's set to, just say new. That would be the default selection. So for these members that were testing it, it would say personalized instead, and then you could switch it to new or the other choices there in the drop down. But pretty much right after we reported this on the Pelo Buddy social channels, it appears to have now been removed for those members who are testing it. So currently it's gone away for everyone that had it. Right. I didn't have it. I checked it as soon as Chris Lewis messaged us. I checked Jackie's Bike Plus. I checked my bike. I checked the tread. I didn't get it. So I don't know anyone. No one messaged me about it. So I don't know anyone directly that was using it. But yeah, we'll see.
I guess something.
We'll come back. We'll see it again soon.
Exactly, something we can get to anticipate will be being launched at some point. So yeah, and then for those of you, exactly, for those of you that have the Peloton guide, we have noticed that Peloton is rolling out connectivity with Apple Watch and the guide, whereby your Apple Watch can now be used as a heart rate monitor. So there has definitely been a very highly requested ask. So I know that folks are going to be so happy that this is finally coming to fruition. So similarly to when you are on the tread, for example, tread members, have reported that, you can use your Apple Watch when you start a class. It basically prompts you on your Peloton app that appears on your watch, asking if you wish to connect to the Apple Watch, the same now applies to the guide. And then you basically just choose to connect, and your heart rate will then show up on the screen while you're doing your strength training. You are also able to connect the guide to the Apple Watch in settings on the guide by selecting the heart rate monitor tab. So there are two ways of being able to do that. But I know that so many folks were very anxious about wanting that to be up there. So it's nice that you now can just use your Apple Watch for both and not have to use the heart rate monitor.
Yeah. And while we're still on the subject, of Apple Watch, it appears now a previous feature that had been removed is now returned. So Apple Watch users recently had this feature restored, and it was the ability to see the remaining class time on their watch display while they have it connected. Apparently that had disappeared at some point a while back, about a month ago, leaving members with the ability to only view on their watch just the heart rate.
Correct.
But now it appears it's returned, so you can see that second time remaining. In addition, Peloton is now also utilizing the data in the class plan features, which allows members to view a breakdown for each class, such as the warm-up, workout, cool-down for the Apple Watch display, which is a nice addition.
Feature.
So members, they'll now see a little bar feature, They'll now see a little bar in the lower portion of their Apple Watch that will fill up as they work their way through that specific segment of the class. So nice. I'm sure that's nice. If I had an Apple Watch, I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I definitely do. I mean, I use my watch all the time, and I have to say, I do think it's I'm glad that they brought it back, because that was frustrating that it wasn't there. So that was definitely a good move. And then for those of you that were curious, so were we, as to what happened to all the 45-minute rides. So back when Peloton first started, 45-minute classes were pretty much the standard.
The norm.
But as Peloton evolved, shorter classes were definitely, being introduced. Members have noticed the decrease in the number of 45-minute classes on the schedule each week. And actually, John, there was a week back at the end of May where there were absolutely no 45-minute classes that were being offered at all live. And also with the purging of the library, a lot of the older classes were 45-minute classes. Those have now been purged. So a number of 45-minute classes that are being offered have diminished significantly. Chris has an amazing grid up that you can kind of see the years and how they've done that, and the classes that you can certainly go over to pelobuddy.com to take a look at. But I guess the question is, John, are members preferring to stack classes, and therefore, the need for the 45-minute classes is not as relevant? Could it also be a fact as when the studio was open pre-pandemic, folks could go in early morning or late evening to do those 45-minute classes. And then the classes in the middle of the day, those 15-minute, 20-minute classes were really like walk-ins that folks didn't have to pay for. They could just kind of come in. Since that whole algorithm is now changing with what's going to be happening at the studio, we don't, assume that's going to be going on. Maybe that's a reason. We don't know. There's obviously just speculation on our part here at Pelo Buddy, or Chris's part at Pelo Buddy. So that was just something we thought was interesting and we wanted to throw out there. But Chris has an amazing, explanation of the whole 45-minute mysticism and disappearance of it on pelobuddy.com. So if you are interested in learning more about that, certainly head over there to take a look.
I would say it's all about the data. Peloton is super data driven. They analyze, break down every single metric, piece of info that comes in. And I would say it all comes down to overall engagement. I think that the numbers are way higher in terms of members being on live rides on demand, are way higher when it's a 20-minute or 30-minute as opposed to a 45-minute or a 60-minute class. Interestingly enough, though,
But interesting enough, there's still a couple, there still are some 60-minute classes. I haven't seen a live 90-minute, and I believe that Power Zone is the only thing that gives you a 90-minute. Am I correct in saying that?
That I can recall, yeah. Wilpers has done a 90-minute, and Christine might have done a 90-minute climb, I want to say.
Okay.
But I know Wilpers sometimes quarterly or every 6 months or so, he'll do a night. I did one of them once a while back.
Did you really?
And it was a Saturday morning 90-minute Power Zone. Yeah.
Okay.
It felt long. It kind of dragged on for a while. Matt had his banana for his mid-ride, snack.
Right.
But yeah, I feel like when I see a 45-minute ride that, not Power Zone, but a 45-minute class that I can do in my schedule, like I miss the longer classes. Sunday mornings you got a 60-minute or 45-minute usually with Jen Sherman. That's my go-to Sunday class. But it was fun this past week doing a 6 a.m. 45-minute Hidden Hills with Camilla, because they don't usually have that many 45-minute 6 a.m. rides on the weekdays. So that was kind of a nice surprise. But yeah, I remember they were way more common on the schedule. But again, it's a numbers game. Right. I think they see a higher engagement, more people take them. That drives obviously membership up, engagement. It's a retention, so that's what it all comes down to.
And again, I think if we're kind of speculating too, the instructors push stacking. So the instructors are often saying, think about all those mood rides that came out. They're all 15 minutes.
Yeah.
The ability to get a quick workout in, being able to do something. So that's something to definitely take into account as well. And then something interesting that we wanted to share, and I know a lot of people's minds it's been on a lot of people's minds, so we definitely wanted to be able to share it with you guys, is as to whether or not we will ever get to see the Tread Plus again. So there was one member, and we can certainly thank Todd, who reached out to CEO Barry McCarthy to ask that exact question. And interestingly enough, he got an answer. So the response member Todd got was from Barry McCarthy: I'm hopeful we will be able to relaunch the Tread Plus. We continue to work closely with the government to make that happen, but they control the timing. Meanwhile, be confident that we will continue to support the Tread Plus regardless. So that was really interesting to see. I guess, look, there's still no guarantee. I think that it sounds promising. We spoke about it last week. I'm definitely in the camp of returning my Tread Plus at this point and getting the regular Tread, just so that I have the warranty and I have the ability to, if anything goes wrong, bring them in. So yeah, I guess time will only tell. But for any of you, and there's so many people that ask me, will reach out, as if I know, but so many people will reach out and say, do you know if it's coming back? Do you know? Yeah, here's your answer. Todd got an answer from Barry to say that potentially. And it was posted on Reddit. So we'll put up a screenshot of that. But yeah. So
we're going on just over a year now that the Tread Plus has been.
Can you believe it?
Pulled.
Yeah.
So I guess it was May of 2021 that
exactly
existing orders were canceled. It was pulled from the website. So.
Crazy.
It's just it's still the same response. That's the same response we heard last time. We're hopeful. There hasn't been, at least that we've found, there hasn't been any submission to the Child Safe CP,
right?
Child Consumer Protection group for some sort of potential fix. So yeah,
guess we'll see. I must be honest, I'm not hopeful. What are they going to do to change it? How can they change it? I think what they did with the code was brilliant. I wish they had thought of doing that initially. That was definitely a clever move. It's irritating as heck.
If they had that in place since day one, we might not even have been here at this point with the whole recall and this whole
100%
this whole problem. So
yeah, definitely frustrating.
Hindsight is 2020.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just glad that I got my Tread Plus, and that so far so good. I haven't had any screen freeze up issues for a while. So I'm hanging on
I'm
to it. I still have.
I'm getting them.
I was smart and got that extended warranty on like someone right there.
I know. And I'm getting the freezing now. I mean, I'm doing all the stuff but it's I'm getting it. So I'm going to give it one last shot and see if they're going to do anything about it. But if they don't do anything about it, then I'm afraid I am going to have to return mine and get the regular tread. Which, as I said in a previous episode, I tested it out, in the Aventura Mall Peloton store, and it really is. It's fine. It does the job. And for all those folks out in the UK and maybe even Canada, I can't remember if Canada got the Tread Plus or not. I don't think so. No, but they're on the regular treads and they love it. So I'm just being a brat.
Well,
and I'm admitting it.
You return the Plus, and then with the money from the Plus, you buy 2 treads, one for Miami, one for Washington. Win-win.
Yeah. Don't think he's putting a tread here. That I can tell you. But that's okay.
You got to sell Mark on that.
I got to sell Mark on that. He's not buying it. He's not buying it. Anyway. All right, moving on.
Well, we have had a bit of an update that we've recently noticed with the One Peloton Bike Rental Club. They have removed the option to rent the Bike Plus. So currently on the website, it's only listing the original bike to rent. Not sure. Been no official statement, no official reason given by Peloton other than I would speculate it was maybe a supply chain issue, or maybe they weren't seeing as many orders as they'd like for the Bike Plus, so maybe it wasn't advantageous for them to include the Bike Plus in the program. That would be my only guess. I know the Bike Plus, whenever we needed a service appointment or something for us to replace it, there was always a super long wait. It seemed like there was always less of the Bike Plus availability of it in terms of supply chain supplies.
Interesting. Guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. But that was interesting because we just reported last week about the fact that they were now bringing it across the continental US and folks could rent. So who knows? Well, I guess we'll get an update on that. And just a quickie here, but I know that we have some very happy Irish Yank fans because Daniel McKenna is going to be back on the schedule. So Daniel had shared on Instagram that starting July 14th, he'll be bringing a 45-minute full body boot camp to the platform. So that was, I know there are tons of Irish Young fans that have been missing him terribly. Although there's been content that they can grab on demand, it'll be nice to have him back live on the schedule. And moving on, anyone for tennis? Those Wimbledon fans and tennis obsessed fanatics. For the first time, Peloton has brought or is launching a special content feature in conjunction with this year's Wimbledon tennis tournament. So this was a absolute first. We'll see some rides, walks, and strength classes. That will give all of you folks that love your badges an opportunity to earn a badge. You can head over to pelobuddy.com to see a list of all the upcoming classes, but there is a 10-minute core strength with Ben Aldis, a 20-minute ride with Bradley Rose. There was a 10-minute arms and light weights also with Bradley, and Justin Thompson Rule dropped a post-run stretch. Erik Jager dropped a full body warm-up. John Husking's 15-minute run, or it actually was a walk, excuse me. It was a walk. Yeah. Yep, it was a walk. Went live. He did it live in his full getup, in his Wimbledon whites.
Was he in his tennis whites?
He was in his tennis whites. He looked gorgeous, of course. And yes. He had technical issues. So, of course, everyone was freaking out because it didn't drop on demand after it it went live. But he did re-record it, and it is now up on demand as well. So folks aren't going to get the live version of it, but John did go ahead and re-record it, and it is up there. So those folks that want to go ahead and grab that walk can certainly go ahead and do that. And a couple people, of course, being his admin, a lot of folks were blowing my phone up and asking me where it was, because everybody wanted to do it because he had posted stuff on his social. And folks had said they've done both, and other than shout outs and stuff, it was very, it was the same class. So and they love doing it.
I was gonna do that walk. It was in the afternoon. I noticed it on the schedule, but I think it was the same day as Maddie's Pride Walk.
It was.
And so
it was. Maddie's Pride Walk was at 12:30. Yeah.
Yeah, it was at the lunchtime. So I'd already done that walk, but I'm curious, what kind of music did he have in the Wimbledon walk?
So, you know what? It's funny because he played, I'll tell you, because we were talking about it. Jocelyn played a lot of Federer likes. So in her warm up, in her her stretch, she did a stretch. She did a stretch, and I've done it a couple times now. She actually did music that the tennis players like to listen to. So, and I guess as we all know, Federer is a Peloton member. So she gave some shout outs to him and had told him about some of the songs. I guess she put in Queen in there. She put in, can't remember who the other artist was that she had in there, but for John's one, he had Phil Collins, You Can't Hurry Love. He had the Rolling Stones in there. He had Harry Styles' Watermelon Sugar, Elton John's I'm Still Standing. So all British, all British. They were all British artists. That was something that he did state that he wanted to put in. He had the Police. All British artists was how he did his walk. So it was a great playlist. It was a really cool playlist. I haven't done the walk yet. Unfortunately, I had a contractor at my house who would not leave on Wednesday. So
I thought you did it
Tuesday.
I thought you did it live.
No, I didn't do it live. So yeah. I was bummed. And I haven't done it yet. So that is definitely for this weekend. It will be walked out on the beach or on the boardwalk here down in Miami.
So for anyone that did not get the memo, there are no live classes being broadcast from both studios over 4th of July. So beginning on Sunday, July 3rd and running to Tuesday, July 5th. It's just a whole slew of encore classes on the schedule for those 3 days. Live classes from both studios will resume on Wednesday, July 6th. But there were a couple 4th of July theme classes for everyone if you did not have a chance to check them out yet. Olivia had a 30-minute 4th of July walk plus run on Friday the 1st, and Callie had a 20-minute 4th of July full body strength class on Saturday the 2nd. And Kristen McGee had a 20-minute 4th of July yoga flow. Looks like it will debut as an encore class on Monday the 4th.
All right. And for all those Canadians out there who celebrated Canada Day this past Friday, July 1st, Peloton actually dropped their next artist series, which featured music of Canadian rock band Rush. So this artist series included a 20-minute run with Matt Wilpers, a 30-minute ride with Dennis Morton, and a 30-minute upper body strength with Andy Spear, all in celebration of Canada Day. So the Canadians got their shout out too with Rush.
Yeah, I posted about that because as soon as they announced Rush, all I think about is the movie I Love You Man with Jason Segel and Paul Rudd.
Oh, I don't know.
Classic. Oh, it's a
classic.
classic.
Oh my goodness! All right, gonna have to watch
Rush
it.
Fanatics in it. Yeah. There's a whole they even go to a Rush concert in the movie.
Oh, too funny.
Oh,
okay,
yeah, it's great movie. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to catch it. What's it called?
I Love You Man.
All right.
It's kind of a bromance. It's a bromance movie.
Like a bromance. Okay.
Yeah.
My son's down here with me, so I'm gonna he's probably seen it, but I'm gonna rope him into watching it with me. That's awesome.
Yeah, Paul Rudd and Jason Segel and a few other
I love them.
people you'll recognize. Yeah.
All right. All right,
So
good.
it's looking like instructors were finally getting some instructor in-person events again, because this weekend several instructors will be at Essence Fest in New Orleans. Um, Essence Festival of Culture, known as Essence Fest,
That's a
which is
mouthful.
scheduled to take place June 30th through July 3rd. Peloton launched a splash page on their website, as well as a sign-up area, sent emails to some members with more information on it, inviting them to attend. But 6 instructors will be in attendance. 4 events throughout that weekend: Tunde, Jess Sims, Kirsten Ferguson, Chelsea Jackson Roberts, Marcel, and Allie Love, who originally wasn't listed, but will be there for part of it. And there's currently 3 events that are being promoted. There's a hashtag Black Girl Magic meetup and happy hour. Looks like it's a tie-in with United Healthcare. It says for healthy bites, uplifting conversation. That's going to be with Tunde, Jess Sims, Kirsten, and Chelsea and Marcel. That happened on Friday. And then there's a Breathe In, Speak Up event that took place on Saturday in the morning. And then there's a third one called Centering Our Voices, Social Determinants Impacting Maternal Health. That has an OBGYN special guest and a live discussion Q&A that's on Sunday. So yeah, hopefully we'll see some pictures or some clips from folks who are down in the area and attending. But yeah, if you went to it, let us know. Give us the skinny on it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And for those of you that were as excited as I was to see the studio website go up for us to be able to book classes, it's now password protected. So I'm sure tons of folks just like me went on and booked classes just for fun, only to get an email later to say this class is not going to be happening. I got my email to say that I was included in the class. Of course, we all knew, unlike others, that it was just a test and they were obviously just testing it out. There were some others that thought that it was real.
They were posting, the website is up, book your class now. No,
yeah, we knew it wasn't.
Do your research.
Do your homework. Do your homework. But it is now password protected. But we know that they're working on it. They're definitely looking at making it, sharp and efficient and effective for members to sign up. So everybody is getting antsy. There is no question that we are all ready for August to roll around and for us to start getting into that studio.
And one little thing, so you and I have both been to the studio, we've booked classes, because I know a lot of people, I've received some messages saying, how does it work? How do you reserve a class? And I'm going off of the previous way it used to be online, but normally you could book a class up to 7 days in advance. Right. So if your class, the class you wanted to do was on a Friday, the Friday before that, a week before that, at noon that day, noon Eastern, the page would open where you could reserve your spot for that class. And normally, it was, I think, $35 or $40. I think it was a lot less if it was your very first time booking your class. Maybe it was $20 initially. But that's normally how it works. I assume that system at this point, it'll kind of be the same thing. It'll be a week in advance, but that's normally pre-pandemic how it worked. For anyone for anyone wondering who's never been to the studio and gotten to experience that yet. And
you could purchase credits. You could get credits
you
that
could get
would then kind of taken away and
I know they did have, for folks that were local in the tri-state area, they did have an unlimited membership, and I think it was about $250 a month, and you could book as many classes as you want. And the nice thing about that was you could reserve your spot for a class a little bit further out, like 10 days in advance.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which was nice. So,
$400
$400
control room.
control
Wow.
room. Yeah. Yeah, it was expensive. I didn't know any unlimited membership folks, but that was the nice thing. You didn't have to scramble right at noon 7 days in advance if you wanted to get bike 6 or the camera, the spot that would get you on camera when that certain camera was on you, and and the reflection. Yeah.
All right, so I guess we'll wait and see.
Yep. And in very sad news, the Peloton stock price dropped below $9 this past week for an all-time low.
We have no words.
I don't know what else
we
to
have
say.
No words. we just giving you the news, people. We are just sharing the news. We are as frustrated as you. We don't know why. It just went to that. But you know what? The stock market is in such a mess at the moment anyway. I'm just equating it to that. It's got nothing to do with Peloton. It's just got to do with the fact that if you're owning stocks right now, you want to cry. So
yeah. Everybody's got 401k. Yeah, everyone's 401k is in the shitter right now.
Exactly.
So collectively, I'm sure everyone's feeling the pain across the board in the stock market.
Well, if you don't have all your money in the stock market, you can go online and take a look at the new apparel, not new apparel, excuse me, that there is new apparel info in that this past week we saw a 4th of July apparel sale. So at least we're getting a sale for the stuff because we don't have as much money as we did because we've lost it in the stock market. So they put a sale out there. But there is a 4th of July sale, folks. And if you're shopping, you're able to what Peloton have called shop and save. So if you spend $100 or more, you'd receive a 15% off your order. And if you spend $200 or more, you'll receive 25% off your order. Jump in quickly because the sale ends tomorrow. So July 4th is when the sale will actually end, but they had it going right through the weekend. I'm done. I'm done buying apparel. Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, I can't have one more thing.
That's a good reminder because I actually have one or two referral credits. I have a reminder on my calendar set that I have to use them because they expire in the next day or two. So
then definitely jump on and get that. So. Yeah, because then you can use the referral codes and hopefully get a discount. I don't know how that works with the referral codes though. If the discount will apply if you're using referral codes.
I got to use it either way. So
okay, all right. We'll see what happens. Maybe you'll get double. You'll get a double whammy. That's awesome.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, and I guess next up, folks, is moving right along in structure in the news. John, you're up first.
Yes. So Jess King was, speaking of in-person appearances, she was in the studio for an in-person interview at Spectrum News New York 1 to talk all about Pride, Peloton, and her personal journey. There's a link, should be up on pelobuddy.com, but it was, those news segments, they're only about 4.5 minutes. But it was just nice to see her, she was all dressed up and they were showing little clips of her when they were doing her intro. But it was just great. It was just a nice change from the usual remote Zoom type interview that we've been, seeing the last couple of years. Yeah.
Right.
So it's great to kind of, finally see them back there, with the local news media outlets in person.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, she's certainly been in the news quite a bit because she was also featured in popsugar.com this past week on her pregnancy journey. So the article was titled, "I Had No Idea What I Was Up Against." And Jess spoke about how when her partner Sophia and her first embarked on the adventure of becoming parents, that they had absolutely no idea how difficult the process would be. Initially, they really just wanted to explore and understand and both of their fertility and try and be a little bit more proactive. But it actually turned out that it was far more complicated, a process in ultimately getting pregnant. She goes into detail in the article about going through IVF and intrauterine inseminations, which ultimately resulted in the pregnancy that she is now in the midst of. And also just the rather lengthy and traumatic process that they both had to endure. So certainly for those of you trying to conceive, it really is a wonderful article, and just understanding more about the process. She talks about the holistic approach that she ended up going through as well. And, again, for those of you that know my background and having been in the infertility world for almost 30 years, I just love it when folks are just so open about their journeys, because so many people hide behind this cloud of, embarrassment and shame and not being able to get pregnant. And obviously in Sophia and Jess's situation, being in a same-sex relationship, clearly there had to be some intervention. But then not only that, they actually went through infertility as well. And I loved how open she was about that journey. So huge kudos to her. It's an amazing article. And of course, Chris has it up on pelobuddy.com if you want to read the whole article.
And another interview, Chelsea Jackson Roberts was recently interviewed by ebony.com to talk all about how she modernizes the ancient practice of yoga with a hip-hop soundtrack, hip-hop flair that she adds to it. So I'm sure we have it linked also on pelobuddy.com if you have not seen that one.
And Christine D'Urclay will be teaming up with Broadway stars Jennifer Simard and Rashida Scott, as well as leading lady fitness Steph Wilberding for a Broadway Con panel discussion about strengthening performance on and off stage. So as I'm sure those that are watching or listening to the show know what a huge Broadway fan Christine is. So I'm sure for her, this is going to be, such a wonderful opportunity. It will be on July 8th. So we'll definitely report more once that happens. But the article, again, is up on pellobuddy.com if you want to learn more about it.
Great. And rounding out instructors in the news, strength and shred coach Andy Spear got a puppy. He adopted a dog, named him Jerry, and he just recently posted some pictures. It's a mixed breed, but super, super cute. It's got, the coloring around one of its eyes. I don't even know what,
do you know what it was? What the breed it was?
Almost like maybe a little bit of beagle, when I first saw him, but super cute. And it looks like, he and Sunny, which is Rebecca Kennedy's dog that she adopted from, the fallout, the dogs that were stranded from the hurricane in the floods or hurricane in Puerto Rico. Looks like they're, bonding and getting along great too. So they've posted some pictures with the two dogs, but super sweet and good on him for adopting. I'm not, we didn't adopt personally, but I think that's great. He said, when he was doing a recent Insta Live after one of his classes, he just said, I couldn't not, rescue or, adopt a pet when there's so many that need homes.
All right, John. So I guess rounding it up, next up is our picks of the week. And I will have you go first since the first one is yours.
All right. So I've got 20-minute new wave ride with Christine D'Urclay. She has great, I love her for her 80s. I mean, she's a fantastic instructor, but I love her taste in 80s and new wave, alternative 80s playlist that she does. This one was great because it had a lot of stuff that I don't normally hear that she hasn't played in a while. There's some Talking Heads in there. She also played Kate Bush's Running Up That Hill, which has been really popular on the Peloton platform after that Stranger Things episode. That song I just saw somewhere, someone posted a TikTok, Kate Bush is raking in somewhere about 200,000 a week just from all the streaming, because apparently she owns all the rights and the publishing to her music. So it's just exploded, from that recent Stranger Things episode on Netflix. But a great 20-minute, a great nice 20-minute burn. So check that one out from CDE.
Great. And then Kapow Kate and Spin Loving Mama both recommended Sam's 30-minute classic rock ride from the 24th. It was a early morning East Coast time, 2:30 a.m., but it was his first studio class with the public, and it was buzzing. Many of the Yes Yo crew went to Sam's first member in-studio class. This particular person said, I wasn't there, but loved seeing my friends on the screen. So that was really cool that he ended up having kind of a, en masse of the Yes Yo crew that all went into the studio on that day. So cool, really cool. And his first 30 live member class.
And I don't know if it's Roshio spins. Roshio spins.
Maybe like Ferrero Rocher. I don't know.
Go with that. They recommended Camila Ramon's 30-minute Todo Ritmo ride, which was in Spanish, from June 24th. They said not only was Camila's first live ride with members in the studio since she joined the company during the pandemic, but it was also the first ever Spanish live class with members in the studio. You could hear the announcement through PSNY in English and in Spanish. They said they were there, and the energy was fire, literally a reggaeton party at 8 a.m. Everybody in the studio had crazy energy, and we're all singing and riding. The energy was shared through the cameras, and everybody at home was part of the party too. Even though it's in Spanish, Camila's classes have English subtitles, so anyone that was hesitant to do a class in Spanish.
That's awesome. And I'm loving that we're getting these picks of the weeks of folks that were actually in the classes and, and are sharing, because I think there is, as we've said, there's a different dynamic to classes that folks are actually in. So that's really cool. How fun. So good for you, Roshio Spins, for having been in that class. And then our faithful Daisy Mack, she sent in a pick of the week this week, and that was for Olivia Amata's 20-minute pop core strength. It was also from the 24th. It was at 1:30 a.m. Eastern, and Daisy Mack said, nothing beats her core. It was my 2,500th strength. Oh my word.
Wow.
Huge shout out and congrats to you, Monica. That is insane. Amazing class design. So well structured. So I don't know what I'm more impressed about, whether, it was her 2,500th strength class or the fact that it was Olivia's 20-minute core strength. But huge shout out there.
How many hours a day does Daisy Mack work out on the platform? I'm curious. Is she one of those persons who does like 5 hours?
But she's Monica, and I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but Monica's a teacher, and I know she works and she takes care of her mom.
Is she an early?
So she starts very early. Yep. She's a crack of dawn. Okay. I believe she gets on the road. She runs outdoors on the road. And again, Monica, I hope you appreciate me sharing this, but gets out on the road early in the morning at 4:30. I believe she's a really early, and then we'll work out again when she gets home in the afternoons. So she truly is someone that I just admire. That woman doesn't stop. And we had her on the show on a past episode. I interviewed Monica, sometime maybe a year ago, 18 months ago. And back then she was impressive and was, way into, and she's very consistent in her strength, in her rides, in her runs, in her meditations, in her yoga. I mean, she must be
hit that number.
Right? Never. Oh, John, I'm trying to get to 250. No. I'm trying to get to 250. I think I'm at 247, and I'm almost embarrassed to post a milestone because I'm thinking, how do I post 250 when Daisy Mack is on 2,500?
Baby steps.
But you know what?
Steps.
Baby steps. You're right. You're right. And she constantly gives me that little bit of a nudge to say, hey, Amanda, you've got this. So keep doing it. But while you go on to the next one, I want to see how many workouts Daisy Mack's done. So you go to the next one. And I'm going to check this out so long.
So we had a few members submit Jess King's 30-minute pop punk ride from the 25th of June. Kristen Luana, Western the Cat, Tobin Bicycle, and Katie Tacos all submitted that one. They said, spot on playlist. I was bawling by the end.
Wow. All right. Well, I can't give you Daisy Mack how many workouts she's done because her profile, I remembered now, is private and she doesn't have anyone follow her. So sorry, can't give you that shout out.
She doesn't have any followers? She doesn't allow anybody to follow her?
She doesn't. Oh. She doesn't. She says she likes to just be able to do it on her own, and she's on there. She can see us, but she doesn't follow anybody, okay. Or at least have anybody follow her. Yeah. All right, moving on. Cliff Dwenger, 20-minute gospel ride in English. So for all you Cliff fans out there that long to have an English class with him, he gave us one. It was for those of you who enjoy good music. For those of you who enjoy gospel music, Cliff knocks this one out of the park, and it's one of his English language classes. Unfortunately, that submission did not have a leaderboard name, so I can't give them a shout out, but at least for those that are looking for an English Cliff ride, you can jump on that one.
And this might be another anonymous submission because there's no leaderboard name that it was submitted by, but Kirsten Ferguson's 60-minute walk plus run from the 26th of June. They said, Kirsten's intention setting Sunday was just the message I needed after the news of the past week.
Heard a lot of people say that. A lot of people really liked some of the classes that were being offered because of that. Another one was Kira Michelle's 10-minute focus flow yoga. It concentrated on wrists. It was from the 26th. And Becca Dill said, important strength for any yogi. And I will give you the next one since it's mine. And that was Justin Thompson Rule's 10-minute Wimbledon post-run stretch. So I'm a huge advocate, as I've said 1,000 times, for stretching. I love the way Justin structured that particular stretch. It gave different parts that typically I hadn't seen in a stretch. So definitely wanted to give it a shout out. It was an awesome post-run stretch.
And I didn't submit it, but I do want to shout out Christine D'Erical. I did her, it might have been after her 20-minute New Wave ride, but I did her 10-minute Barbara Streisand cool down. And it was really good. It was really good.
What?
And the one thing that I want to...
What? Hang on.
I know, after I hated...
Oh, my goodness. I'm impressed with you, John.
The cool down was tolerable.
All right. I'm impressed with you.
It was tolerable. I do want to bring up a point, and my friend Nicole, who goes by Nikki Pellos for Pizza on the leaderboard, she's very critical of Peloton. She gives a hard, she relays a lot of her criticisms to me to vent. And she goes, don't say my last name, but you could say my leaderboard name. So she made a good point of telling me about this cool down, because at the beginning of it, Christine says, I'm not going to give you a Wikipedia bio on Barbara Streisand. You're here because you know the artist. And I wish some of the other instructors would get that memo, because it's kind of annoying on some of the artist rides when they feel compelled to have to give you a whole a background, a whole Wikipedia page on that singer, that performer. It's just, you don't need that. You're already a super big fan. For most part, most people are already big fans.
And that's why you're choosing that artist series. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So shout out to Christine for saying that. And it was good for... The music was nice and chill for the cool down. I liked that Bring in the Clown song. I was kind of singing along and funny. in my funny singing voice to that. So it was great. So shout out to CD. I liked that one.
I'm
Moving on to
impressed
one
that
of
you.
the
I'm impressed that you were humbled enough to admit that you liked it. So thank you, John.
yeah. I guess I'm a somewhat of a Barbara Streisand fan. So
All
moving
right,
on
so
to one of my
yeah.
actual picks, myself
Yes.
and Marie K148. We recommend Camilla Ramon's 45-minute Hittin' Hills. It was her 6 a.m. ride from Monday, the 27th of June. I don't know any of really the artists, maybe aside from what's the name's escaping me now, but I don't really know the music that Camilla loves to play, dembo music. But this one, like, the music was great, and Camilla, I just love how, like, she just, she lets the swearing fly. She kind of speaks her mind. I really like this. She reminds me a little bit of JSS in that sense, Jen Sherman, because randomly she was, during the ride, she randomly said, if you're a 10 and you go to the club and you take your shoes off, you're an automatic 2. She has something with, like, dirty feet. So that was a really funny moment. I posted that to my reels the next day. But I'm really enjoying, riding with her, especially at, the 6 a.m. slot that she has normally on Monday mornings. So a great ride. And I love a good 45-minute ride every now and then.
All right, so
good.
Right. And we were just talking about those 45 minutes that weren't there. So that was awesome that she had one pop up on there. Next up is a pick from Rachel Blaufeld. It was Kendall Till's 30-minute hip-hop ride from the 27th at 12 noon. Just one word, ragey.
Okay.
I don't have anything else to say. Ragey.
Well, we've got several people that submitted Tune Days, 60-minute intervals and arms from June 28th. Kathy C713, Miss Sarah Beth, D. LePage, 1108. Some of the comments are, it's been a minute since I took a 60-minute ride, but this one flew by. The intervals were challenging, but the arms were brutal, per usual when it's Tune Day. And the playlist was varied, but fun as well. So glad this finally happened.
All right. I think I have a new bestie on the tread, John. No one's going to replace John Husking for me, and John and Jeff both know this, but my Jeffrey McKeechan, he did a 30-minute Afrobeats run. It was in German, but I have to tell you, the music was incredible. It was one of those where I actually jumped on the app because I really wanted to do it live. It was that same day that John had his Wimbledon walk, and I had a contractor at the house, so I couldn't end up doing it. So I had to delete it and then go back and do it. I did it live after, and I took it outside. It was fantastic. He shouts out Cliff Dwenger a lot in there because, as we know, Cliff is the Afrobeats king in the Peloton world, and he had said that Cliff had helped him with the playlist. But I'm telling you, and a lot of people thanked me last week when I said don't sleep on Jeffrey. He is amazing on the tread. The energy that he exudes is so contagious, and I am throwing him in at least once, if not twice a week, into my routine now on the tread. So that one is one I highly recommend folks jump on and do. Really cool playlist.
Nice.
And I guess both you and I are up for the next one, so we can both give it a shout out. That was probably one of the best walks on the tread, right? That I have ever done. I mean, I don't know if you can certainly go give your 2 cents, and then I'll give mine.
So this one, for anyone that missed it, Matty Majacomo's 30-minute Pride Walk from the 28th. He did it in character as his alter ego, marathoner, who think of Peg Bundy from the show Married with Children in drag, if you to kind of describe this character. But he originally debuted it back in, I think it was Halloween, for his Halloween run 2020, and brought her back for the Christmas run that year, and then shelved Marathona since this past week. But yeah, super fun. I mean, we had several other people submitted, obviously. Pelly Anna, Kathy Martirano, Robin Ra, who's one of the admins that runs the Magic Makers group. Pumpkin Spicy, Molly Moe, 1005. It was just tons of fun, you know, and I think it was Robin Ra that actually gave me a heads up. I didn't really have this class on my radar, but she said, don't miss Maddie's Pride Walk. It's going to be something special. So I made sure to be there live, as you know, you were there as well, and it was a great packed. It was like 500 plus people for a Wednesday at lunchtime, which you know is way higher. You know, on the tread normally for classes, you know, during the week, usually like top out around 150 people, 180. But you know, people showed up for this one, and it was well worth it.
It was well worth it. And, you know, John, my take from that walk was actually a little bit deeper, and was really his education into the drag world.
Yeah.
And I loved how he went into, you know, he made it fun, but it was so interesting. And for those folks that weren't familiar as to how drag started, he spoke about Shakespeare. I mean, that is actually how drag started, was when they had to use men dressing up as women in Shakespeare plays, and they would wear these long dresses and they would drag on the floor. Right. And that was how they came up with the name. But I really loved the education that he gave us, in, you know, how it was really underground in New York back in whenever. I don't remember the dates that he gave, and how he explained it was absolutely amazing, together with the fun of being on this fabulous walk through his life with his kid, you know, her kids, her kids. I got to use my pronouns correctly. But Maddie went to such a wonderful extent in preparing his sneakers, which he showed on one of his Instagram stories, of how each those beads were done by obviously the costume designers of Peloton, to the gloves. I was interested to know how he wore those nails. And I'm sharing stuff that I think was just so cool. They were gloves. With these long nails that they had attached to them. And he gave shout outs to the makeup, you know, help that he got, and to the wig that he wore, and to the really cute, you know, outfit. And Marathona was well received by the Peloton audience. And I think certainly for me, it was my most fun Pride workout now that Pride Month is over. I loved the fact that there was just so much of it through the month of June, and it was just so fun, so fun. So that was definitely a huge culmination to the month. So yeah,
it was a great class. And it was fun that it was informative. He gave you some history around Pride, and like you said about drag. But he also wrote a lot of great comedy bits that he and his partner Evan had put together for this class. And I love, you know, he shouted out John Hosking at one point, because
I love that,
because you know, he had you know, like silicone tits. You know, like real realistic, like boobs strapped on there. So at one point he goes, I'm going swimming. I'm training for a triathlon. I'm gonna come swimming to you, John Hosking. I got my flotation devices.
and John went right with it, right? And John reposted it on his social. It became a whole fun thing. It was awesome.
And then I thought it was great when he talked about all the recent Pelo instructors being pregnant, and he goes, I think there's something in the water, unless that means I could be Dennis Morton's baby mama. And then he takes a big swig of his water bottle, and then he goes, or Matt Wilper's baby mama, and then he takes another big drink from the bottle. I thought that was cute.
Yeah, well, we certainly gave Maddie a ton of love there, but it was worth it. I mean, Maddie and Marek, you can come out anytime you want to. The Peloton community love you. So definitely definitely we want to see more of her at some point.
Yeah.
All right, go for it. Next one.
All right. Next one was submitted by Pam DeBarber and SKS0920, Alex Toussaint's 30-minute hit ride from the 29th. They said great workout and playlist.
All right. And I'm going to have to put my glasses back on. Kristen Stupid and Heidi Thomas both recommended.
Stupart, not stupid.
Stupart. No, I said Stupart. It's the accent.
Oh, it sounded like you said Kristen Stupid.
No. Stupart.
Okay.
Stupart and Heidi Thomas both recommended Rebecca's 45-minute hiking boot camp. I was so bummed that I missed it. It was the day I was traveling down to Florida and I wasn't able to get on, but they said literally my favorite class. I PR every time. So gotta figure out when I can jump on that one, perhaps next Wednesday. But yeah, definitely she did
Jackie
it.
Reserved and she made a point the night before saying, just so you know, I'm getting Rebecca's hike tomorrow morning. And because I got the last one, so it was only fair. So after the class, I said, how was it? She said it was good. I said, did Rebecca give you a shout out? She goes, no. I said, good.
You're too funny. All right, moving along. Right. There's still quite a few.
All right, here's one from me as well as Paige Stafford. Rad Lopez's 45-minute full body strength workout from the June 29th. I do not do enough strength workouts, let alone Rad, and I've always heard great things about Rad. So I was really excited to change things up and do his 45-minute hip hop full body strength. I mean, it was tough. It was challenging. He made some fun comments about, being older and spending more time at Target, sniffing all the candles in the candle aisle. And then he talked about his local grocery store, how they recently did all these upgrades and renovations, and texting his buddy saying like, hey, they have floor to ceiling windows now at the supermarket. And he goes, yeah, you're getting older when you're excited about the renovations and upgrades at your grocery store in your neighborhood. But it was great. I mean, he's a great strength coach. I really have to get on board with him more, and in Daniel too, because I've heard nothing but great things about Daniel. But
John, I'm impressed that you went. I'm impressed that you went out and did 45. I mean, from no strength to 45-minute full body. Look at you, man. That was a commitment, dude. For sure. Absolutely.
Well, it's summertime. I gotta tighten up and
buff it up,
especially in the stomach area. I'm heading to New York, so I gotta slim down.
45-minute class isn't gonna do it, John. I'm afraid, but that's okay. We'll keep you going. Consistency, right. Progress, not perfection.
Not perfection.
All right, 30-minute disco Pilates with Krista McGee from the 29th. Helen Stew and Roxy like a Puma said lots of fun. Playlist was amazing.
And no no member leaderboard name associated with this one, but Erik Jager's 30-minute Power Zone ride in German from June 29th. They said first ever live Power Zone ride in German. Sam Yo is also teaching Power Zone now, but he hasn't had his first live PZ yet, so look for it as a pick in a future week from this person.
And our very own Chris Giles, I always say it wrong, Chris Giles and Millie. So Chris M. Giles and Millie, Susie Chan's 30-minute soft rock walk from the 28th. It was an early one for the East Coasters, but a perfect time for the UK. Amazing energy, nostalgia-filled playlist full of guilty pleasure, which started off with Phil Collins, In the Air Tonight. Mandatory air drums were done and had an amazing cover of the Foo Fighters song, Times Like These. So I have heard Chris had said it was a fantastic walk. So anybody that wants a nice little bit of soft rock, make sure you jump on Susie's 30 minutes on the 28th.
And last but not least, someone submitted Ross Rayburn and others 10-minute Pride meditation from June 30th. They said Ross leads fellow instructors in the studio that include Mariana, Adrian, Cody, Kirsten, and Christine in this Pride meditation.
I missed that on Thursday. So I definitely want to jump on that one for sure. I always get distracted though, because I want to see what the instructors are doing. And when they do, they've done it once or twice before, right? When they've had the instructors in there. So I'll have to probably do it twice. One where I'm really meditating and one when I'm voyeuring and perusing
when you're
and seeing what they're
stargazing.
doing.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, folks, there were lots of them, but hopefully that gave you some nice food for the week, for this 4th of July week here in the States, and Canada Day celebrations in Canada, and just being British, and the Australians. Can't forget the Australians. We haven't had any Australian news lately. We got to get our friend Maisa Wong to give us. In fact, I will give a shout out to Australia. Maisa Wong, who we've had on the show as well. She was one of the very first folks to get a Peloton in Sydney. Just had a meetup at one of the Peloton stores in Sydney and had quite a nice show. Yeah, there were quite a few folks show up.
Turnout.
So I saw that, a great turnout. So wanted to give that a nice shout out for those folks down under. I know we don't give you nearly as much love as we should, but just know that we love you being on the platform. And I love hearing the instructors shout the Australian folks out when you're on a live ride. I know Leanne does that a lot. So it was nice to see that they had a meetup. So huge fun time for them. And yeah, John, I guess that pretty much wraps it up for us. So next week we will not have you, but we will have a better Prue on the prettier Prue on camera, as Jackie has said that she will come back on as a guest for us next week while Kenny Banier is parading around New York City,
hobnobbing
with everything. Yeah. Exactly. And then we want to hear all about it the following week. So we're going to have to make sure you take lots of notes and we can get everything everything on the show for the following week. So folks, thanks again as always for taking the time to listen and hearing our silly banter between John and myself. Always fun. But hope you all had a good holiday for those celebrating. And from me here down in Miami, bye for now, everybody.
And for me here in Michigan, appreciate you tuning in, listening, and watching us. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.